Our final speaker, our main speaker, was said to be hours of death himself during the 1980 hunger strike when it was called off. And instead of being here today, very, very close, he was going to be another name on that monument. So just before I introduce him, just to give you a quote from Tommy before he went on hunger strike to his mother. Quote, "I'll put my cards on the table. I'm going on hunger strike. And if and when I die, I want to be brought back to Roscommon and be buried alongside my granddad. Don't let people try and influence you. Your only friends will be the Republican movement. If I die, never let the family be ashamed. If I die, I'll die in the knowledge that my life was for the cause and for the other boys here. If and at my funeral the press say, see how the IRA let your son die, just say, my son died as an Irish soldier and not a British criminal." Tommy McKearney.
Just boil them a chuch breakers a horch la hay and common Seán Heuston la hay and la shaw and you. Is my agus is reachtanat leker na her na chorchon hivna agus an iberch a tajanta our son Seán na heron agus in araha our son and foblakta so gramilma agav darif. No cause, no matter how grand or glorious, no matter how important it is, should on all occasions demand the lifeblood of those who support it. There should be no necessity to die on behalf of a cause. But on the other hand, it has to be said that no cause can sustain itself. No great, glorious or important cause can be promoted if there are not those willing, when necessary, when the demand is made and when the time insists upon it, that there are those who are willing and prepared to defend that cause right up until the last minute and to give and make the ultimate sacrifice to defend the cause with their lives. And it is that cause, that very cause that is so important, that is so demanding and that is so urgent, that we are looking at today and looking at those that gave their lives willingly, clearly in the knowledge of what they're doing, clearly in the knowledge of where they were going, those that give their lives in that glorious, that grandest of all causes. Let's never forget, republicanism is not a mere aspiration. It is a philosophy. It is a way of life, and it's a political doctrine that guarantees to our people prosperity, freedom, and the right to govern in the land in which they live. Republicanism, when it came first as a philosophy to this island, it taught us it was to be the citizenship of the free, the citizenship of the people. It was to make citizens of those of us that had been slaves to the employer, something that comes to our mind so poignantly in this centenary year of the Great Lockout of 1913. Citizens instead of serfs on a land which we didn't own. Citizens instead of subjects to a foreign crown and an imperialism that demanded blood, sweat and tears with little respect for the people which it governed, the people which it dominated. And those that gave their lives. And it's worth remembering that while we talk today and while we commemorate, and rightly do so, those that died in hunger strike, we also pay tribute to those that have contributed, that give everything that they have had and have been able to give to the cause that we cherish so dearly, the establishment of a democratic sovereign republic on this island, right across this island. But those that have spent many of their best years in jail, those who have given the best years of their youth and many of the years that were left after that, those in ill circumstances who contributed their lifeblood to the republic, but particularly we think of those today, those who knowingly without fear, without regard for what lay in front of them, knowing exactly what they would meet, died the cold, lonely, painful death of hunger strike. The heroism that lay within their hearts, and that unquestionable, unbelievable commitment to achieve the objective for which they had committed so much and give their everything. We think across the years, we think of over a century, a courage that has inspired us, the deeds they have done that have motivated us. But their death, the sacrifice they have made, it not only inspires us, it not only motivates us, but it presents us with a challenge. A challenge that is before us. Because just as in so many circumstances and so many occasions that are passing, impacted and changed the course of events. The death, most recently on hunger strike, of 10 men in the north, to which many of us are so familiar because it was so recent, it echoed across the world. But that was not the first time. It is a matter of record that when McKearney, Lord Mayor of Cork City, when he died on hunger strike in Brixton, that Ho Chi Minh, no less than the great leader of the anti-imperialist movement for so many years, noted in his diary that this is the type of sacrifice with which imperialism cannot cope. This is the spirit which will defeat the imperialists. And I am glad and delighted to hear Mr. Stokes refer to those others abroad who are today experiencing these circumstances, particularly the men in Guantanamo Bay. We will not ignore or forget. We will not allow those imperialists who keep them there without trial, charge, or any degree of humanity to ignore the sacrifice they are making. But when we talk about the circumstances that brought about these great clashes, where our men struggled, battled, and refused to compromise with the enemy, who refused to concede the right to the imperial powers to govern us, to govern the people, to replace their management with our right to govern as a free people, for the betterment of our people, for the prosperity of the people of this island, citizens of a free, democratic and socialist republic. That's where the spirit is unquenchable and can never be conquered. Today, as a result of the sacrifices, of the unbroken spirit of those that we commemorate, and we're standing here on sacred soil, we're standing among the monuments to the great and to the brave. Undaunted, unbroken courage is evident by the tombstones around us here today. But when we look at and think of that noble cause which was so nobly served by all of those who have struggled, given their lives, and in particular those that we commemorate today, those who so willingly made the supreme sacrifice on hunger strike, we are looking not only to be inspired, but we are going to be challenged by what they have done. We are looking and experiencing today a situation where the sovereignty of our people has disappeared, north and south. Finance managers, manipulators, bankers and speculators are sitting in the Bundestag in Germany, in Brussels, within the Troika, deciding what measures Ireland can take in its budget. Where therefore goes our sovereignty today, north. Imperialist Britain is sitting, confident that they can manipulate and manage, that they can control what we do in the north. confident that they have created an arrangement that will provide for the security of the Empire's interests in the north, just as those that sit in Brussels or in the Troika are confident that they can continue to take tribute from us here and keep us under control. And they are doing so because they are confident that there exists, north and south, a gombeen class, those that are willing to act as bailiffs, those that are acting to manipulate, steer and control our people both north and south. What was identified over 2 centuries ago by the founding fathers of our philosophy, by Tone, by Jimmy Hope, by the others that contributed, that made us aware of the need to govern ourselves for the common good of the people, for the betterment of the people. Those that have reminded us again and again of the need for sovereignty among the people, they have asserted this in the face of what today appears to be the betrayal by those that believe they can manipulate us from without, confident that they have a gombeen class here in charge. But what we look at today, when we think of that unbroken, unconquerable spirit of those men that have died on hunger strike, from Thomas Ashe, McSweeney, and let's not forget Seán McKearney, Jack McNeila or Tony Darcy, who didn't die in English prison cells. That there is a common imperialism. There is an interest among a governing class to ensure that sovereignty is so limited that only a section benefits from it. But it is those names, it is that spirit, it is that message that they send to us that assures us that do what they may, think what they will not rest comfortably in their positions of power forever, because the people that have contributed the heroes that we remember and commemorate today, that the people that commemorate them will ensure that a different day will dawn and a new day will dawn. That challenge, the fact that we commemorate them with pride, we draw inspiration from their deeds, dead from the bullets and bombs of the enemy, dead from the years they have given in this struggle. Their challenge is not just to remember, not just to commemorate, not just to be inspired, but to change the situation, to move forward and achieve the objectives that they gave their lives for so long, they struggled for. And the message again that they'll tell us. The enemy may try to fool us, but thanks to their memory and thanks to their incisiveness, we'll see through the lies of the enemy. The governing class may try to manipulate us, but the message we'll send to them is that forever we'll resist your attempts at manipulation. Moreover, they have struggled hard to intimidate us. They have done everything in their power to do so. But thanks to the memory and the inspiration and the sacrifice of those we commemorate, there will be those of us, many of us, among this people of ours, who look unflinching because we have a journey to travel, an objective to achieve. We have the republic to build, free, grand and sovereign, and there is nothing that you can do to prevent it, because we have the inspiration, the history and the courage that comes from those that gave their lives on hunger strike and in every other area and arena of combat. As James Connolly said, as they faced defeat in Easter week, as he said to the men and women, there never has been a grander cause, and never has a cause been more grandly served. We can say that about those who died in hunger strike, but we can also draw the inspiration that this grandest of causes will always draw those that will serve it grandly, confident we can remain that our objective will be achieved, and that someday, sooner hopefully than later, we'll see and experience the Republic, free, grand, sovereign, socialist and democratic, that will pay final tribute and give reward to those that have so selflessly laid down their lives under such horrible, difficult and unwelcome circumstances. So,